Hi everybody, happy Monday. We're always glad to see you. Every Monday we come out with a new video and we're glad to see you again this week. I'm Chris, this is Steve. We talk every week about what we're doing in this week of our Nomad travels. And generally we talk about nomad life and hiking and eating vegan, but this week we're going to try to answer the question, is Mexico safe? The number one question we get from everybody around the world, is Mexico safe? So we are going to answer that question. But first, we're going to tell you about some of the things we did this week, which started off with getting massages. That's like the best deal in Mexico. We were able to find so when we travel, we often go to the Facebook group before we head out for the local area. So we went to the Cancun Facebook groups. There's a couple. There's one for expats and one for Love Cancun, whatever. On those Facebook groups, we often post, where can we get a good massage and where can we find someone that comes to the house? And so we did. We found a great massage therapist, $30 per person for an hour. He came to the house, and Steve, who used to be anti-massage.
Yeah, so it was great. So I didn't used to like massages up until really just, a couple months ago, since we started doing these amazing massages in Mexico. And what was really great about this guy that did it, and by the way, that was $30 each for an hour. So
60 total.
So yeah, for 2 hours. So anyways, so I've had some issues with my shoulder, and he had, not only was he a great massage therapist, but certainly had some physical therapy kind of training, because he just did some wonders on my shoulder, and it just feels so much better now than before the massage. And I was a little worried about it because I didn't want him to like stretch my arm in the wrong direction. But he was so careful, and it was just so well worth the money that we've scheduled another round of massages for tomorrow. So I can't wait to do it again. Yeah.
So we felt so good after massages, we decided to get a little exercise, and we decided to rent some bikes to go out to the beach. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I don't think I realized that we're at the hotel zone in Cancun. Is what's about 6 or 7 miles from where we are,
downtown Cancun.
And there's a really nice bike path all the way out the causeway, all the way out to the beach access. And so we rented some bikes. And what was really funny about the bike rentals is, we're online, and they kind of have a website, and we got the address, and we actually even confirmed in advance, did some WhatsApp to make sure that they had enough bikes for us. And we walked right past the place, and we're like, well, wait a second, there's just apartments here. There's no like business here. And, contacted them, and they're like, oh no, you're in the right place. So it was just, basically an apartment,
Some guy's house.
And with we're open in the front, And so you rang the doorbell, and the woman came out, and you've heard a baby crying, whatever. And had a couple of great bikes. And so the bikes cost us for the entire day $10 each. Nice bikes. And we had a great ride out to the beach. It was probably the longest, and it was a hot day. So it was the longest bike ride that I know I've done in a while.
Yeah.
But it was a great day, and it was really fun. Taking the bikes, right onto the beach when we finally got there, and yeah, so the bike rides were great. And then when on our way back,
on the way back, we were riding by the Jolly Roger ships or whatever, and I remember somebody on Facebook saying that they were staying in Cancun at the Jolly Roger boats, and so I texted her. I said, hey, we're riding by your house. Can we stop by? And she said, yeah. So we stopped by and made 2 new friends. Right there, just spontaneously, because we were in the neighborhood, so that was kind of fun.
Nomads that are also traveling like we are full time.
So that's another path. A lot of people complain about Facebook, but there's some really good things about Facebook, and one of those is the ability to connect with like-minded people, or like activity people, I guess, as we travel along. So the next thing we did for the week, this was really, really cool. We found on Google a antique or vintage car museum here in Cancun. And at first we thought it was a public museum. It had hours, and so off we go. We walked about 4 miles across Cancun through all the different neighborhoods and got to the museum, and it was closed. And we're like, it's hot. And there's a guy out in the front yard, one of the mechanics working on one of the cars, and we kind of moaned and whined in my best Spanish. that we were hot and we'd walked 4 miles and we'd heard all about this museum. Anyway, so he makes a phone call and he ends up calling the director of marketing, I guess it was, for the museum. Anyway, 20 minutes later, the marketer comes over. He opens up the museum. We get an hour, maybe it was even 2 hours, private tour through these old antique car museum. And most of the cars in the museum were cars that participate in the Pan American Car Rally, which we knew nothing about. So it's a rally that goes from the border down to the border. And
Yeah, the
all
route
these
changes every year. They change the route, but they do it every year.
and it's all these antique cars. They had Tin Lizzies, old Model Ts and Model A's and Rolls Royces and Porsche 911s and
Mercedes whole collection.
and a 442 and I mean all these muscle cars. It was just so cool.
Yeah,
It was this guy's-
Mustang Mach 1, 1971 Mach 1.
Yeah, so it was just really an unbelievably cool time. And then as we were leaving, we were trying to get an Uber and we had all kinds of transportation problems this week, didn't we? Anyway, none of the transportation was coming together, and the marketing guy said, "Where are you guys trying to go to?" And we told him. He said, "I'll give you a ride home." So we just hopped in the car and off we went to his house, and then he handed us a poster.
To our house.
Yeah, our house. We'll show you a picture of the poster. It was a limited edition marketing poster for the 2021 Pan American Rally. So that was just a really, really cool. I think I'm really lucky that I speak Spanish, because I think speaking Spanish opens up a lot of doors for us that maybe wouldn't be opened up in other ways. So that's nice. Anyway, after the museum, we decided to go back to the beach and try transportation, another type of transportation, and we discovered the local buses.
Yeah, so, just like we did in Puerto Vallarta, the local buses here in Cancun are pretty easy to take and pretty easy to find. 12 pesos per
Which is
person
50
per
cents.
route, which is 50, 60 cents. So it's super cheap. And we took the bus, way out to the other end of the beach, probably about 10 miles out to the end of the beach, where there's a Mayan, there's an excavation site and there's a museum there, which I was really excited to go to. It had a great write up, and we got there and it was closed. So again, Chris uses her Spanish, and I was like, "Yeah, you can get us in, just like the other museum."
This one, Indiana Jones archaeological ruins. I don't think they're going to let us in just because we were nice. So, anyway, we although the museum was closed, it's going to be open next week. So hopefully we'll show you that next week. But the local beach next door, where on the beach there's a gazillion limited edition hotels and all these things, inclusive hotels. You can't get in. Anyway, the local section called Playa Delfines, the Dolphin Beach, where all the locals go. Beautiful. You'll see some pictures here. Where we decided to go there, so we made lemonade out of lemons, and that is where we started really questioning the question of, is Mexico safe? And so I got the opportunity to talk to a policeman, and you're going to see, I don't know if you shot video or if you had photos of this. We're going to see that, and then we're going to tell you one more thing about what we did this week, and then get into the is Mexico safe question.
Yeah, so yesterday we had a fabulous time with some old friends who are visiting from Alaska. Another one turned lemons into lemonade because there was a concert that was canceled, but they came anyways, and so we had an opportunity to spend the whole day together and spend time on the beach.
Snorkeling.
And shout out to Miles and Dana, and the snorkeling is great here. We've talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago in Akamal, but the snorkeling in Playa Puerto Morales, really fantastic. There's some beautiful manta rays and the coral and beautiful fish, and just had a really nice time.
Yeah, it was only
right
for
off the beach.
$25. They put us in a little ponga boat, and off we went about, I don't know, third of a mile offshore,
This time
out
we
to the
had
reef.
We had to, rent.
And they included the snorkel gear and all that,
everything.
and a guide.
So,
nice.
so that was really great, and just a great day with friends, really enjoying that day. So that was.
Seems like in our
really
Nomad
special.
life, we see more of our friends than in our regular life. So anyway, so is Mexico safe? So I guess I'll launch with this question. So this is a question I have pondered my entire life. I grew up in San Diego. I have spent my entire life coming to Mexico. I tell this story. Steve's so tired of hearing the story, but when my sister and I were like 5 and 7, my dad used to take us down to Ensenada, so just south of the border, just south of Tijuana, to a bar named Husong's, those of you who know that. And he would sit in the bar, watch football games, smoke a cigar, and he would give my sister and I, or my sister and me, we'd each get $5, and he would send us out into the street to go buy Mexican stuff and Mexican trinkets. We were 5 and 7, and off we would go. And people are just kind of like, your dad let you go out in the street by yourself in Mexico as 5 and 7-year-olds? We did. And my sister will verify that. You can ask her. She will confirm. And we would go out and spend $5 on Mexican candies and cookies and things. Anyway, fast forward, lots of travel through Mexico. A couple of years ago, I was leading a tour in Oaxaca, Mexico, real tourism area. Lots of tourists in Oaxaca. People know Oaxaca for the Day of the Dead and food and mole and all kinds of things. And we were with 2 guides doing a hike from the city of Oaxaca up to Monte Alban, which is a Zapotecan ruin right in the city. And the hike is well-traveled. We had traveled it many times before. Our guides, well-known. We had traveled with them many times before. We were doing everything right, and our group got robbed. We had 2 people come up to us with AK-47s or some sort of high-powered gun. At gunpoint, they sat us down and stripped us of all the things that were in our backpacks and our pockets. And really all they took was cash and jewelry. They didn't take passports or credit cards or anything like that. It took maybe 5 minutes total, and off they went. So nobody was hurt. Maybe a half a mile after that, because we were like a half a mile from the ruins, we went up to the top. There were police there. We reported it. Nothing ever happened. And here we are 3 or 4 years later. So now Steve and I go out to the beach, and we've been all over Mexico now, a couple different places, and we go out to the beach twice this week. And the first time we went out there, I'm going to show this picture. I haven't shown it already. There were like National Guard or Federales. I'm not quite sure what level of policemen they were, but they had camo on and the big high-powered guns and a whole squadron of them up and down the beach they're walking. And then later on when we went to the public beach, we found maybe more like a local city cop who was on an ATV, and I think he might have had a flak jacket on, but he had just a pistol. So that that prompted quite a conversation with Steve and me about whether Mexico's safe.
Yeah, and so similar thing happened when we were in Puerto Vallarta, where, a couple blocks we were walking from our condo, and we saw, one of those police vehicles with, a couple people on the back with guns, kind of like standing guard kind of thing.
A pickup truck with guys on the back.
Yeah. And Chris made a comment like, oh, we shouldn't go there because there's,
it's a target.
It's not safe. And I said, no, this is the safest place to be because they're here to protect us. And that's kind of my feeling is like, if I see this, raised presence of police power here in Cancun, and especially in the tourist areas, is like, that's why they're here, is because they're protecting the tourists, and they're making sure they're making that themselves very visible to let us know that it's safe here, that they're keeping out, they're keeping guard for us, and they're protecting us. So I see that as the presence of additional police, and there's Coast Guard and different types
of helicopters and
But
I see it. When I see it, I think, oh my God, they're targets. I don't want to be anywhere near, because if I'm somebody that doesn't like the police there, what's the first thing I'm going to do is shoot a policeman so I can kind of take over the area. So I kind of feel a little intimidated, a little bit frightened by that I'm near somebody with such high power, because I feel like I'm near a target. But I don't know. Is Mexico safe? So while we were sitting on the beach, a cop drove by, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go up and talk to him in Spanish and ask him if it's safe. And so in my best, most respectful, usted, not tú. If you know what I'm talking about, if you speak Spanish. I usteded with him, which is the formal way of speaking Spanish. I asked him very respectfully, is it safe here? And what about the drug cartels? And as Americans, because of course a lot of the reasons why the drug cartels are in the American areas, or the areas where the American tourists are, is because American tourists are asking for drugs too. Is it safe? Is it not safe? What's the drug situation? What's the cartel situation? And of course, he told us that it was safe, and that the drug cartels, they're not interested in working with the Americans, and they're not in it for, the one American that wants a joint. They're in it for the big, move thousands of millions of dollars of drugs, not just an American looking for, a good
but
time.
so did that conversation then make you feel better? Did that make you feel safer, the conversation that you had with him?
Well, he certainly emphasized that there's bad people and good people everywhere, and there's bad people in Chicago and bad people in New York and bad people in Denver and good people in New York and good people, so and if you go looking for trouble, you'll find it. And if you stay safe and you stay smart and you stay in the safe areas where safe things are happening, then you'll be safe. So he said, Cancun safe, Puerto Vallarta safe, Mexico City safe. The places where the tourists are safe. So I guess,
Yeah.
but I was in Oaxaca where the tourists were and I wasn't safe. So what I'm saying, and maybe Steve will say something a little differently, is I think Mexico's safe. If I didn't think it was safe, I wouldn't be here. How's that?
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to, I don't know, where's a war zone?
Yeah.
Ukraine right now.
And I feel very safe, and we've walked all around the city and really enjoyed it. And the people are so warm and so friendly and so helpful and great to get to know.
And I got in the car. We got in the car with the director of marketing, and he gave us a ride home.
Yeah.
And so there's an example of we didn't feel threatened at all.
Yeah, and we were talking to a guy at a restaurant, and he invited us to come stay at his house in
Chiapas.
wherever in Chiapas, wherever in his local town. So people have been super friendly and helpful, and I love it.
And I don't think you have to speak Spanish to feel like you're safe. I mean, I do, and that's nice, but I think you don't have to. Because I don't want people to think, oh, we can't go to Mexico because we don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, and certainly my Spanish is very limited.
He's doing better.
I'm doing better.
He's doing better.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. Ask us questions about that. Give your whatever. We're not trying to be political. We're trying to invite you to Mexico to have a good time. That's what our goal is. So anyway, what did we do today? We went to a timeshare presentation. So next week, we're going to tell you about the timeshare presentation and all of the goodies we're going to do this week that we got from going to the timeshare presentation. So watch out. If you have questions about that, ask us, and maybe we can try to answer those next week.
What is that?
That's it. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up. We're trying real hard to hit 100 subscribers. Maybe you'll be number 100. I hope. Thanks. Talk to you guys later.